Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Welcome to the first update of our 2025 project orchids. Now these are 5 orchids that my viewers have effectively chosen out of a selection of 3 in 5 separate genera. So we did a video 6 weeks ago which was the first look where we sort of benchmarked the plants. We set them up over here, which I'll do again in a minute, and took a look at them, had a chat about what I would expect to happen to them over the next, what in this case is 6 weeks, and yeah, and we took a still basically over to one side. The idea being today is we'll have another look at each one in turn, and we'll take another still, this time over on the other side, and then at the end of the video we'll put the 2 stills together so that you can see a direct comparison and see what's happened in 6 weeks alongside each other. And then as time progresses, the next update we do, the one on the right hand side will move to the left and the new one will be on the right hand side. And at the end of the project we'll cycle through all of them and have a look at probably a year's worth of developments on the 5 plants. Anyway, I will try and get the camera in the same position as we had it last time. It is a bit fiddly because it means playing with the height, the legs. Basically I've got to shorten it so that I can lower the tripod down and get it alongside where the plants are going to be. So I'll shut this down now and we'll come back and have a look at the 5 plants in turn. See you in a bit. Okay, here's our first plant, Masteralia Falcarta. Little noticeable change because it's a relatively large Masteralia and it has a lot of leaves. So if I look up and say, well, it's actually grown 6 or 7 new leaves, you can't really tell the difference from what it looked like before, if you see what I mean. But I mean, this new leaf is obvious because that wasn't there before. So it has put on quite a lot of new growths. Another one in here, another one here. There's more new growths coming. What I don't see as yet is any sign of blooms. They are often difficult to spot. You've got the blooms come from here, alongside the base of the leaf out of the sheath. That's where the blooms come from. So obviously until they push up you can't really see them coming. But anyway, we do have quite a lot of new growths, and at the end of the day that was supposedly the progress. The idea was also to see some new root growth following the repot that it had. Well, there are some signs of new roots in places. I wouldn't say it's a massive set of roots, but there are some growing near the surface that will get down in the pot, and some have already started to do so. So here as well. So we have got some root growth that wasn't there before, and we've certainly got quite a few more new leaves. The more leaves we get, the more strength the plant's got. So unless there's another factor, like light is the particular one in question, that's not right for it, then it should be strong enough to bloom. Now again, this one hasn't bloomed, so I don't know at what point in its growth cycle it's supposed to bloom. Some Masteralia have a lot of blooms all at once at a certain time of year, and some have an odd bloom every now and again right throughout the year, so they do vary quite a bit. So anyway, I'm pleased with that. It hasn't gone downhill in any shape or form. It's pushing up new growths all over the plant, not just in one little place, and we have some signs of new roots coming down from the top of the pot. Those will be from, in the main, the new growths that are pushing up. But some of the new growths are in the middle of the plant, so some new roots will be going down in the middle of the plant, which we can't even see until they, make their way to the edge. So that's that one. Okay, plant number 2 is the mounted Silogynycristarta variety Lemonana, and The reason it was mounted, I'll just go over that again, is that it was growing vertically out of the pot. This is a little separate section here. I'm trying not to touch it because it will just go wallop. It's just balanced there at the moment. These two little bulbs here are a separate section. They did have some of their own roots. I was hoping to see a new growth come out of that section. It hasn't happened yet. And then up here we've got the bit that was upright in the pot, the reason for mounting it, because there were no roots on any part of the rhizome. It had a little spur coming out here. I was hoping to possibly get a new growth on that. That hasn't happened yet. But what has happened at the top of the plant is the two silly little bulbs at the top of the plant have now produced 3 new growths. Now, we had 2 of them when we last looked at the plant and they were quite small. So basically we have had that much growth from a little shoot that, oh, hang on, I need to see if that, is that leaf in the way? Possibly. I'll hold it down there and try not to knock it over. But the new growth that was here has grown that much. Hooray! Doing a balancing act here. The growth this side has grown that much. Yeah? And we now have a new one, a 3rd new growth. So that's what's going on at the top of the plant. But there is still no root activity whatsoever. But we do have 3 new growths. Those should form some decent sized bulbs, and at the appropriate time, given this type of phylogeny, there should be some root production on this part of the plant. Now, it might be that I will eventually take it off the mount. It can't stay on there forever. When I take it off the mount, I will probably only keep the top part of the plant, because that will be the part with the roots on. And if I keep these 2 bits here, then I'm going to have the same problem trying to pot it. Yeah? So I will probably sever the rhizome there and keep the top part with this old bulb here and the funny little shaped bulb there and the 3 new growths. And in theory, if those 3 growths produce full-size bulbs, we might get a flower spike. But that's late winter, early spring if it's going to bloom. So that's that one. I'm pleased with the growth of the 2 new growths we started with. They were tiny, you know, they were less than an inch long, less than 2.5 centimetres. And now, as you can see, they've grown quite a bit, and a 3rd one has joined them. So this one's progressing okay. The thing I need to see on this is some root growth, which we haven't got yet. But who knows, you know, strictly speaking, Silogynycristartas, they don't grow much in the summer because it tends to be a bit too warm for them. Well, these are growing okay. You know, they're putting on a reasonable amount of growth. But we shall see how this one goes. It's unpredictable because of what I've done with it by mounting it. And, you know, we will just have to wait and see what happens. But we've got good new growth. What we don't have is roots. Maybe by next time we'll see some little roots poking around in the moss. So that's that one. Okay, plant number 3 is the Miltonopsis, her alexandre, all one word. Previous one of these I've had some time ago. I didn't actually realise that was all one word, and I had it down as 2 words with a capital A for the alexandre bit as well. But that's not how it is registered. So when we looked at this last, there were 3 new growths. This one here, and this one off to the side there. Both of these 2 are coming off the same bulb. We had some discoloration on this leaf. Well, we still have, and it's getting worse. Same on this leaf, and the same on this leaf. Effectively, those leaves are on older bulbs. So at the moment I'm not too worried about them, and there are no sign of any discolorations or anything on the new growths. They all seem to be doing okay. I've got 2 reasons, 2 possible reasons of what's going on here. Is insufficient roots to actually feed these new growths, in which case the plant is taking nutrients out of some of the older leaves. That can happen. It could have fusarium, which I hope not. But when I repotted it, I don't think I cut any old bits off, so I didn't see the rhizome to actually check. But so what we were after was growth. Well, this one is progressing really well. This is pushing on nicely now. So we're doing okay here. This one's pushing on nicely, as is this one. So we've got, this one's up to here. So we've got some good growth on our 3 new growths. Leaves are opening okay. We've got no sign of any concertina leaves. So obviously the new growths are getting hydrated okay. And the important thing with Miltonopsis is to regenerate new roots. Well, we've got these. These are new roots. Now they're not that easy to spot as such because they've got a very pale coloured root tip. Very pale colour. Let me zoom in so that you can see what I'm on about. There we go. So you see the roots have got very pale tips. So they don't show up that much. The only way they show up really is the fact they're white and the older ones are that sort of palish brown colour. But we do have new roots coming down from the new growths, which is the important thing. That is the bit that's important with Miltonopsis after a repot. You need new roots. Because a lot of the time with Miltonopsis you disturb the roots, the old root system dies. So, you know, you need the new root system. Timing is all important. Once you get to know your plant, I mean, you can see from this plant that the new roots are progressing quite well, but the growths are halfway up to maturity. So the roots didn't come when the growths were new. They've started to grow part way down the maturing sort of cycle. So obviously if I repot this in the future, I will bear that in mind and I won't repot immediately I see new growths. I'll wait until the new growths are a few inches tall, knowing that the new roots will follow on very shortly. That way I'm not disturbing the new roots. If you wait till the new roots have already started when you repot, you've then got to disturb them, and they don't like being disturbed. They're much better off if the new roots come out in the new media after a repot and can just get straight on with life without any disturbance. So pleased with the progress on this. Still worried about those discolorations on the leaves, but no sign of it on the new growths, so we'll see how it progresses. I see no reason why at least one of these new growths shouldn't produce a spike as they mature. I'm not sure, I can't remember, whether the spikes come just before the bulbs mature and then the bulbs carry on swelling and everything and producing their nice plump bulb while the spike is progressing, or whether they have to produce the nice plump bulb before the spike starts. But we'll find out with any luck. I can't see this producing 3 new growths and not flowering at all. So that's that one. Pleased with progress there. We've got roots, we've got progression on all 3 of the new growths. And no sign of rot or damage around the base of the plant. Ideal Miltonopsis, really. So that's that one. Right, plant number 4 is the Pleonopsis Tongerro. This one originally came, I think this one came from Burnham's. Yes, one of the 2 I got from Burnham's at Wisley. So they are this year's purchases, they're relatively new. Now, last time we looked, this leaf had been produced. I said it's unlikely to get much bigger. I think it has got a little bit bigger. But then we had this strange little growth growing out the top of the old bulb, which I said I was going to separate. There is a video showing me doing that. But I did separate it and plant it up in its own little pot, which is pretty dry at the moment. That needs some water. They shouldn't dry out, not in the growing season. That's now got quite a nice little bulb. If you think that was nothing, it was sitting on the top of the old bulb on the other plant, well, it's now growing a little bulb and it's produced a good sized leaf. So that's that. But what's happening now? The daft mother plant has now produced 2 more little bulbs at the top of the old bulb. I don't think this one's genetically right. Anyway, so we're going to have to do it again. Now, I'm not going to set up a whole new pot, because I'll then have 3 pots of the same plant. So what I'm going to do now, I will do a video obviously and add it to the 2025 Project Plants playlist, where all the videos will be collected together. So I'm going to remove these 2. I'm going to let them get a better root system at the moment, because there's not much roots on there. That little bulb that I've already done actually grew some nice little roots. So if I leave these long enough, they will produce a few more roots. So I'll wait, patiently wait and all that. And then what I will do when I do it is those 2 little plants there will get added to this pot. So we'll end up with 3 little bulbs growing on in this one. Yeah, so well, we've got progress. I have to say that what's going on here is totally unexpected. This is not what I was expecting at all. When I spoke to David Mathers about the idea of a bulb growing out the top of the old bulb, he said, yeah, some of them do that. They're a flipping nuisance. Because you're obliged to deal with them. They're not going to survive sat there, are they? The roots aren't going to get into anything. So they have no future. So you have to take them off and pot them. Whereas he said under normal circumstances, the little bulbils come out in the pot. And they can just stay in the pot and grow on. You don't have to touch them. So he said, yeah, the ones that do that are a flipping nuisance. And he said, luckily, it's not many. Well, I've got one, haven't I? So anyway, work to be done. Remove these 2 once they've got a few, once they've got some roots worth dealing with, and pot them up in here. I doubt if this bulb's got a brilliant root system yet, so I should be able to just wheedle away a little hole at the side of this bulb and slot these in, spaced out. So that will be the plan for that. But yes, strange goings on. Understatement. Anyway, if that's how this one grows, then that's how it grows. That's what we'll have to put up with. You have to bear in mind this bulb will die, but at least it's producing some offspring in the meantime, because this will be the bulb that goes dormant in the winter. The leaf will drop, that will go all yellow and then brown and fall off, and we'll end up with this bulb and the shriveled one next to it. And then midwinter, early spring, this bulb will produce a new growth, which will be the flower, followed by the bulb and the leaf. And that's how they progress. Well, that's how they're supposed to progress. This one didn't get the memo. Wonder what film that was from. Answers on the postcard. So that's that one. Okay, plant number 5 is the Simbidium Copper. Now, in our first look video, this was still in bloom. The spike was here. That's gone now, obviously. And we had some new growths, which is really all we can do. Because the Simbidiums are in black pots, we can't really, same with the Pleonies, the fact that they're in black pots, we can't look at the root progress, which we can, certainly with the Miltonopsis and the Masteralia. Right, now this one, all we can really do is monitor the growths. Now there are still a few of the soft brown scale on this plant. There's a particular leaf that's, you see that probably. What I do is, I usually do it when I'm watering, when I give them a good look over. What I'm doing is I'm spraying the leaf with the alcohol spray, and just leave it a short while, and there they are gone. It takes them straight off. So that leaf's done now. all gone. None on the top. So there are still a few around, but they are very low in number, whereas last time we had some leaves that were quite bad, didn't we? So the majority of them are gone, and by taking them off like that with the alcohol, it also gets the juveniles, because the alcohol kills the juveniles. It doesn't necessarily get through the coating on the adults, but if you rub them off, they're gone, and any eggs or juveniles that the cap, the coating, the shell actually leaves behind is destroyed by the alcohol anyway. So you just remove them, and it's working quite well. Tedious, but it's working. Now obviously at some point I won't need to do it anymore because I've got the lot. Right, so first of all we've got a manky leaf. We will dispose of that because my skizzers, because it's unsightly. So we'll get rid of that. Go over there. I keep a plastic bag here which goes into recycling with all the, dead leaves, pots that, if a plant dies or anything like that, the media that's in that pot goes in that bag, and then that all goes for recycling. So we do, but I haven't got one on the go at the moment because I've just taken one out. Right, so what we've got on this one is our two new growths. Let me find them for you. Right, as you can see, let me bring this forward so that the leaves have got room to twist around the back. This is one of the new growths. Obviously that's progressed a lot. In fact, it's gone off the top of the camera. It's now up to here, and you can't even see where my hand is. I'm going to take the camera up because the pot is not really of interest. It's off the top of my board, but now you can... Hello, somebody's woken up. Come on then. Out. Scoot. We did have a bit of rain last night. The ground is damp, but not enough to write home about, as they say. So anyway, this new growth has progressed a lot. This has put on a lot of growth. It was about here before. So it's progressed a lot. It's doing well. Difficult to say whether it's produced loads of new roots because you can't see them, they're in a black pot. And then round here is the other new growth. That's also up to here. So both of our new growths have progressed as far as height is concerned. What they haven't done is produced a nice big fat bulb yet. There's plenty of time through the growing season for that to happen. Yeah, so this one's forming a bulb, so it's starting, and this one is, I suppose you could say, just about starting, but they will produce some nice bulbs. They've got the whole of the summer to, these leaves will get bigger. I mean, if you look at the size of these leaves and then put one of the older leaves next to it, they've still got some growing to do, and in addition to that the bulbs have got a lot of swelling to do. I see no reason why those two new growths should not bloom. They've got backup. The plant itself has got 4 older bulbs, all with leaves on, and they're all good sized bulbs. So there's a lot of strength behind these new growths. Providing the right temperatures and light and everything are done during the growing season and on into the autumn, there's no reason why our two new growths shouldn't bloom. So again, pleased with the progress. We have there's definite progression on the size of those new growths. They are much taller than they were before, and their bases, where the bulbs will be, are starting to swell. In underneath those new growths, I'm sure there will be some nice new fat roots filling the pot up. So there we go. That's the 5 plants. What I will now do is produce the stills of what they look like now. This one's going to be a problem, isn't it? I think this one's always going to be a problem. Who decided to have a Simbidium? Duh. I didn't think about physically getting it into the video. Anyway, what I will now do is create the stills. This is all done on the laptop, you don't get to see any of this. And we will then put the two stills together alongside each other at the end of this video with a little bit of text underneath, you know, where the pots are, so that I don't mask the plants, just to say what the progress has been. And because that's a section that's effectively looking at stills, I will put some music to that. So the actual comparison back to the first look video and this video, the comparison will be done by the stills at the end with a bit of music for your enjoyment, hopefully. And I will see you for the project orchids for any work that needs doing. Well, the only work I've identified is that Pleone, trying to sort that out, which I can't do just yet. There's not enough roots on those little growths. Nowhere near as many roots as there were on the first one that I've already separated and potted. I'd rather wait till those two are in a similar position, because the one I've already done has taken off quite nicely. So if I do the same thing with these two, we'll have 3 nice young bulbs to grow on. Yeah, they will produce new bulbs late winter into the spring next year. Those bulbs should grow on to flowering size. Yeah, so we are progressing with our Pleones in as much as we are bulking them up as far as the numbers are concerned. Okay, I'll now do the comparisons, and the next update 2 effectively, will be in 6 to 8 weeks time when I get round to it. This one, I said I'd do it sort of 6 to 8 weeks. This one was exactly 6 weeks after the first look video. I might just stick to the 6-week cycle. Keeps things ordered. Anyway, see you in the next video, whatever that is. If you're still here waiting for the comparison videos, perhaps you could give a thought to actually joining the channel and actually making a regular contribution to the channel. If you were thinking of doing that, I'd put a little bit extra thought into actually joining on the Patreon site. Both of those options give you members only videos, so you get some videos just for members. On the Patreon site you get 1 a week, which is the ad-free version of the Sunday chat, which if you're fed up with the ads might be useful to you. And then the other 2 that you get depends on the level at which you join. If you join at the medium to higher levels, you get 2 extra ones a month. If you join at the lower levels, you get 1 extra a month. But on the Patreon site you also get that ad-free version of the Sunday chat video. So yes, you might think about joining and get those extra little perks. They're there for your pleasure and all that stuff. Anyway, thanks for washing, whatever it is. My mouth won't work. More coffee. See you next time. Bye for now.